All right, so this is the 101 on how to make sea moss gel. First, you take your sea moss, you rinse it with spring water. You rinse it twice or once, however many times you want to. Then you take it and you let it sit in the water to expand. Because when you first get it, it's not going to be a lot like this. Like this is like pretty much what the bag looked like. The bag was like half of this, so it shrinks up when they let it dry up. You let it sit in the water so the sea moss can expand and absorb the water. You add the water to the pot, about a big pot like this, maybe bigger, depending on how much sea moss you have, and you boil it. You boil it on maybe medium high. No, I'm not going to say medium high, medium low. You don't want to boil it too much because then the water is going to evaporate more. So you want to keep as much of the minerals and stuff from the sea moss in the water that you can keep. So you're going to boil it on medium low or either on low for probably, if you're boiling it on low, you're going to boil it longer. If you're boiling it on medium low, you're going to boil it for like 30 minutes or so, if that, depending on how long you want to boil it. All right, next, you take the sea moss. You don't drain the water from off of the sea moss. You keep the water. The purpose of you keeping the water is so that way you can use the water that that you have from when you boiled it to put into the sea moss when you blend it. So I'm going to put some in my it's not a NutriBullet, Magic Bullet, whatever the hell it's called. Put some in there, and I take about that much. And if you can see right here to the side, it's like hard pieces or whatever. You just take that off, break it off, and stick it in the blender, or stick it in your cup or whatever. Try to get it all in there. You don't want to put too much because the sea moss gets stuck in the blades depending on what kind of blender you have. And you really don't want to pack it just like I just did. So I'm only going to put like a little bit more. Excuse me. So now what you want to do is either take this, pick it up and pour it, or take something like what I have here and kind of press and get the water. See how the water is not clear, it's the color of the sea moss. And you're going to pour that in there. And I didn't even fill this up. And that was enough to bring that to the top. Then we're going to put the top on here. And we're going to make sure it's on there really good. Hold on. Let me make sure it's on there really good. All right, it's on there. Excuse me. We're going to put it on here and let it go. And it's blending really, really well. Now, you're going to let that blend for like a minute or so, however long you want it to blend. Yeah. Normally I would make like half of the pack, but I decided to make the whole thing today. Why, I don't know. But I did. So now, as you can see, the consistency is very watery. So you just add more sea moss, but you don't add more water. So you open that up. You open it up. You add more sea moss. And you can push it down up in there. Because this is going to be just enough to see that hard piece. You can blend that if you want, but I don't. And then you put the top back on. It's a messy process. If you don't have a full blender, see, messy process. If you don't have a full blender, I had one, but I threw mine away. Don't ask me why, but I did. And then you blend that. This is a finished one that I did. So I put the top on this, and it's better to store it in glass because it doesn't. Glass doesn't. What is it? It's better to store it in glass. I can't figure out what the word is that I want to use, but it's better to store it in glass than it is to store it in plastic like I have here. This is an old grape jelly container, and I'm storing it in there because I don't have anything else right now because I made elderberry syrup and all that stuff. So yeah, and I have to rinse my hands because yeah. All right, so now it's a little thicker, just a little bit, not a lot thicker. And now I'm going to open this up and pour it in here. And the longer it sets, once you put it in the refrigerator, it firms up. So it might be, see how the consistency looks? It might be a little watery looking, but once it sets in the refrigerator, it's going to set. And let me see if I can get you to see, that looks watery looking, but it's going to set when you put it in the refrigerator. And then it'll be Seamoss. I'm going to show you the finished product in just a minute. Actually, let me go ahead and show you so I can end this video because I didn't want it to be long. What are y'all doing? Okay, so the end product. This is from the one that I made when I did not boil it. See how that's thick looking? Let me get a spoon so I can really give you the consistency. I thought I had a spoon. I guess not. Alright, so this is the consistency. See? It's like that thick to the point where it's not coming off the spoon. So, yeah, that's how you make Seamoss.